In 1801, when Thomas Jefferson became the third president of the United States, America was still an uncertain experiment. The Revolution had ended less than 3 decades earlier, and although the nation was free, it was far from secure. The Constitution was new, the economy fragile, and the unity of the states rested on trust that could easily break. Jefferson understood something many did not: young nations rarely fall because of foreign invasion, they collapse because of fear, division, and poor decisions made at critical moments. Jefferson was not a man of dramatic gestures. He believed in reason, debate, and the slow power of ideas. As the principal author of the Declaration of Independence, he had argued that governments existed to protect liberty. Now, as president, he faced a reality that tested that belief every day. His greatest challenge would not come from Congress or political rivals, but from a vast stretch of land beyond America's borders, Louisiana. At the start of Jefferson's presidency, the Louisiana Territory officially belonged to Spain, a declining power that posed little immediate threat. But in secret, Spain had transferred the territory to France. When Jefferson learned that Napoleon Bonaparte now controlled Louisiana, his calm exterior hid deep alarm. Napoleon was not a distant monarch, he was a conqueror, a man who reshaped Europe through war. If France controlled Louisiana permanently, America's future would be in danger. The Mississippi River was the heart of American trade. Farmers in western states depended on it to ship goods to international markets. New Orleans, located at its mouth, was the key. Without access to the river, Western America would suffer economic strangulation. Jefferson feared that frustrated settlers might abandon the Union or rebel. The United States, still fragile, could fracture from within. Jefferson's advisors urged bold action. Some demanded war. Others proposed alliances with Britain, America's former enemy. Jefferson rejected both options. War would destroy the nation financially and militarily. An alliance with Britain would betray the ideals of independence. Jefferson believed there must be another way, even if it required acting in silence. In private letters, Jefferson revealed his anxiety. He wrote that the day France took full possession of Louisiana, the United States would be forced to marry itself to the British fleet and nation. Such an alliance terrified him. Jefferson wanted peace, not entanglement in European conflicts. But peace required security. In 1802, tensions escalated when Spain, still technically administering Louisiana, temporarily revoked America's right to store goods in New Orleans. The reaction was immediate and fierce. Western politicians threatened rebellion. Newspapers accused Jefferson of weakness. The nation stood on the edge of internal chaos. Jefferson acted quietly. He sent James Monroe to Paris with instructions to assist the American minister, Robert Livingston. Their mission was limited: attempt to purchase New Orleans and secure permanent access to the Mississippi River. Jefferson authorized a maximum price but warned Monroe to avoid provoking France. He still hoped for a peaceful, constitutional solution. Months passed with no response. Unknown to Jefferson, events in Europe were changing rapidly. Napoleon's plans for a French empire in the Americas were collapsing. A slave revolt in Haiti had devastated French forces. Disease had killed thousands of soldiers. War with Britain loomed again. Napoleon needed money, and he needed it fast. In early 1803, Livingston received a stunning proposal from the French government. France was willing to sell not just New Orleans, but the entire Louisiana territory. The offer was unbelievable. Louisiana was vast, stretching from the Mississippi River to the Rocky Mountains, doubling the size of the United States overnight. The price was $15 million, an enormous sum but a bargain by any measure. Livingston understood the opportunity immediately, but he also understood the risk. He had no clear authority to agree to such a purchase. Jefferson received the news weeks later. He read the letter in silence. This was the moment that would define his presidency, and perhaps the nation's future. The Constitution gave Congress the power to make treaties, but it said nothing about acquiring foreign land. Jefferson had built his political career on strict constitutional interpretation. Accepting the deal would contradict his principles. Rejecting it could doom the United States. Jefferson agonized. He drafted amendments to justify the purchase legally. He worried about setting a dangerous precedent. Could a president ignore the Constitution when circumstances demanded it? If he did so once, where would it end? Time worked against him. Napoleon's offer would not last. If America hesitated, France might sell Louisiana to Britain. That would place a powerful enemy directly on America's western border. For nights, Jefferson barely slept. He walked alone through the White House, torn between law and survival. He understood that history rarely offered perfect choices, only necessary ones. Finally, Jefferson made his decision. Without waiting for constitutional amendments, without public debate, he authorized the purchase. Livingston and Monroe signed the treaty in 1803. The decision was irreversible. When news reached America, the reaction was explosive. Supporters celebrated the greatest land deal in history. Critics accused Jefferson of hypocrisy and tyranny. Federalists argued that the president had abused his power. Some even called for impeachment. Jefferson said little in his defense. He allowed Congress and the courts to debate the legality of the treaty. Deep down, he feared that he had betrayed his own beliefs. But he also believed something more important, that the survival of the Republic mattered more than his personal consistency. The Senate ratified the treaty. America changed forever. The Mississippi River remained open. Western farmers prospered. New states formed. The nation expanded beyond imagination. What had once been a narrow republic along the Atlantic became a continental power. Years later, Jefferson admitted privately that he still doubted the constitutionality of the purchase. He never celebrated the decision as a triumph of power. To him, it was a burden, a choice made under pressure, guided by responsibility rather than ambition. When Jefferson left office in 1809, he returned to Monticello, his Virginia estate. He avoided public life and reflected on the fragile nature of democracy. He believed that liberty survived not because leaders were perfect, but because they acted with restraint, humility, and fear of power itself. History remembers Thomas Jefferson as a philosopher, a writer, and a visionary. What history often overlooks is the suspense of those years, the silent crisis, the unseen danger, the president who risked his reputation and principles to protect a future he would never see. The United States did not survive that moment because of war or force. It survived because one man understood that sometimes, the most dangerous decisions are made quietly, and that leadership means choosing the nation even when the cost is your own certainty.